Hedges Euro Series final here at Mondello Park. They're going to do 2 warm-up laps, but there we see some of the top runners. The sensation of practice, number 93, Mauricio Gugelmin, the Brazilian, who went round in 56.08, 1.5 seconds under the existing lap record. Alongside him, Cor Euser in 56.46, the 2 Van Diemens on the front row of the grid. Then, of course, our own Martin Donnelly. And then it was number 25, Julian Bailey, a late entry, the Englishman who won the Formula Ford Festival. We saw the Benson and Hedges race here last year, by far the highest level of racing that we had seen in the country for a very long time. There is no doubt that this grid matches last year's race. In fact, it surpasses it. David Kennedy is my co-commentator.
It does, it most certainly does. We have a full international grid here with all the top men in this European Championship. And also we've got our own Martin Donnelly, who won in tremendous fashion yesterday in the Frank Nolan-sponsored Van Diemen. He's car number 3 in the orange Van Diemen. Keep an eye out for him. He's on the second row of the grid. He is 3rd quickest. Let's have a look at our grid.
Right, there we are then. Gugelmin on pole position. Alongside him, Euser from Holland. Then Donnelly from Ireland. Bailey from England. Spence English. Dunn Ireland. Taylor was next up. And he is leading, he's in fact gliding second in the championship. Michael Clifford, home from Canada for the occasion. Brendan McKenna, Irish driver. John McCracken. Joey Greenan, second here last year. Then Dennis McGall. Gary Evans, the young Londoner who has been going so well in the Euro Series. Pete Jones, the Swiss driver who has had a very fraught weekend here at Mondello with 2 accidents. Then Alfonso Garcia de Venueza, the Spanish driver whose performance has been interrupted by a misfire during the qualifying. Chris Murphy, PJ Fallon and James Thompson, the final qualifier.
Yes, the grid is made up mainly of 3 makes of chassis. The Van Diemen's being the first 3 cars on the grid, and the next quickest car we have is Julian Bailey, the Reynard. Also, we've got the Crosley cars, manufacturers here as well, but not doing too well. They've lost their main man, Colin Lees, who unfortunately had bad races in the earlier rounds, so therefore really isn't in the picture. So the first 3 cars, all Van Diemen's, and Ralph Fairman is here with them as well.
And Mauricio Gugelmin on pole position, so let's hear to him. We spoke to him earlier in the day. Pole position, that must be very gratifying.
Yes, it's very nice because to be my first time here, and I only had 1 session on Friday to set up the car, and to be Mondello, a really difficult circuit for a driver because it's really tight corners. I'm really pleased to be on pole position.
Now, your ultimate ambition surely must be to join the 2 previous Brazilian drivers as world champion.
Yes, when I first came to England, obviously I had in my mind to one day be able to join Formula 1 grid, but now I think that's too early to think about this, and I got to work hard to be able to do one day.
What's the next step?
Well, I think that the next step is Formula 3, and to do that.
So those were the words of the brilliant young Brazilian, 20 years old, on pole position. There he is on the left of the screen. He makes a perfect start. Gugelmin, but Donnelly is in contact, and indeed Bailey went over his front wheel. Julian Bailey went over his front wheel. It means that the first 2, it's Cor Euser. Euser in the lead from Gugelmin, and then I think it's Bailey. Donnelly's back down in the middle of the pack. That was unfortunate for our top local runner.
I was really surprised. I was talking to Julian Bailey before the start of the race. He said he may stick to the outside and beat the queue on the inside. But unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but Julian and Martin Donnelly touched, and I think Martin's race is probably run. If he hasn't damaged this car, I'd be most surprised if he hasn't.
So, it's Cor Euser who went right over the bank, in fact, at Duckham's in practice, and did extraordinary little damage to his Van Diemen, who leads from Gugelmin. Euser getting a superb start. He was here last year. Mondello is no stranger to him, but last year he drove a Delta, and that was just hopelessly outclassed by the Van Diemen car. There's no doubt that this is a Van Diemen circuit. There's Donnelly going up a place inside Dennis McGall. Furious, no doubt, with that incident and trying to make back places. He's in about 5th or 6th place at the moment. But it's number 77, Euser, from Holland, who leads.
third place, we have Julian Bailey in the Reynard. In third place, trying to catch up that ground that he lost at the start, that melee with Martin Donnelly. Then back to Mike Fulmar-Taylor. And Martin Donnelly, I see, has made up another 2 places, making terrific ground.
Well, now we're just going to check that number. It is, in fact, number 23, Russell Spence in third place in the Reynard. Very confusing, 2 black cars, and he is the leader of the Euro Series Championship. So he could well, with a good position here this afternoon, he could clinch the Euro Series Championship here at Mondello. So there he is in the Reynard in third place, but not on the pace of the Van Diemens. And this is what happened in practice. Is that Martin Donnelly in 5th place? Indeed it is, and he goes up into 4th. Absolutely sensational performance from Donnelly. He's back in 4th place.
What a performance by Martin to make up that ground after his car has been bashed about the place. No doubt the car's tracking is running wrong, its cambers will be wrong, because these racing cars are built light, built to a minimum standard, not to a maximum. So with the bash that he had at the start, no doubt his car is running far from true. A tremendous performance from Martin. Let's hope he can keep it up.
So it's the 26-year-old Hollander, Cor Euser, in the Van Diemen RF83 with the Zack Speed engine, who leads and seems to be slightly pulling away from the pole position Mauricio Gugelmin from Brazil. And it's a very interesting tussle between these 2 superb drivers. In third place, the championship leader, number 23, and that's Russell Spence from Britain, also no stranger to Mondello. He was here 2 years ago. And look at Donnelly. He's undoubtedly pulling away from Fulmer-Taylor and catching Spence.
Yes, Martin definitely seems to be making ground. Here's the car, number 3, Martin Donnelly in 4th place. He's got a fair bit of ground to make up yet on Russell Spence, but he seems to be doing so. His car seems to be behaving fairly normally. We don't see any particular wheel locking up. Maybe he's been rather lucky to pull through that one.
And it's hard to believe that that young man is only 19 years of age and in the company of these very, very experienced international drivers. But Euser really in command. Oh, and kicking up the dirt just shows how hard he's trying. That was the place where he made a mistake yesterday. And he's getting a bit ragged, the Dutchman here. Getting a bit ragged with the pressure of the Brazilian behind him.
Yeah, Cor Euser running in the colours of his country, blue, white and red. A man from Netherlands who with many a good racing driver has come from Jan Lammers, Arie Luyendyk and Blekemolen. Now holding first place, a good 2 cars lengths of Mauricio Gugelmin. 3rd place, Russell Spence. 4th place, Martin Donnelly. Equally spread out between 3rd and 4th.
And undoubtedly, Donnelly is catching the championship leader at the moment in the Reynard. Donnelly definitely closing on Russell Spence, the young North Country Englishman who has had a brilliant season. He's had an absolute succession of wins in the Euro Series, but at the moment it's Donnelly with the Van Diemen, which undoubtedly has an advantage here at Mondello Park, that's hauling him in.
The Reynard, it seems to be quite quick into the corners, but maybe it isn't putting its power down so well. I was talking to Adrian Reynard earlier, and he feels the drivers just mightn't have had enough time around the track to be able to get the best out of the cars. Of course, Ralph Fairman from the Van Diemen team has many years' experience around Mondello Park to be able to sort these cars out. Down to 3rd place, you see the European Championship leader, Russell Spence, and our own Martin Donnelly pulling in piece by piece Russell Spence.
Well, he's really gaining seconds per lap on that car. And this is a superb drive. He will no doubt be disappointed that he hasn't a chance to be right up at the very front and having a go at the 2 other Van Diemens, but that could yet come. It's a 20-lap race in this Benson and Hedges most important motor race in Ireland this year.
An international European Championship round. The European Championship leader lying 3rd, Russell Spence, and Martin Donnelly in 4th place. Cor Euser running slightly wide there under braking for Dunlop. He seems to be driving just that bit too hard. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes the odd mistake over the next 20 laps. He looks an awful lot smoother, our Brazilian, and running in 2nd place, Mauricio Gugelmin.
I was just going to say that, David. I don't think he's going to keep on the track if he keeps on in this way. He's very ragged indeed. And look at Donnelly behind. He's now right with Russell Spence. Donnelly challenging for 3rd place. Not this time at Dunlop, but he'll be well lined up for Shell when he comes down the straight. And there, and Spencer has his hand up. Spencer's stopping.
Spencer's in trouble. Maybe he's had the same problem that Colin Lees has had. And he's through on the inside. He's made it into 3rd place. So now he's got the 2 cars ahead of him, Cor Euser and Mauricio Gugelmin, the Dutchman and the Brazilian and an Irishman.
And Donnelly, in fact, is only 4 seconds behind Cor Euser. So Donnelly seems to be catching the leaders. That's the sensational news that our stopwatch is telling us.
It could well be. Maurizio can't get a proper racing line because Cor being ahead of him is not giving him the free road he requires. So as long as this position, first and second, remain as they are there, it may be a chance for Martin Donnelly to catch up on them.
Well, Gugelmin probably would have been quite content to stay where he was at this stage of the race. The leaders are just coming down to complete their 7th lap of this 20-lap race, but with Donnelly catching him and his pit crew will no doubt keep him informed, Gugelmin really has to get out there. He's got to get past the Dutchman and get a few seconds between him and the fast approaching Donnelly, which you can see in your screen now.
He's certainly catching them hand over fist. And Maurizio, if he hasn't been informed by his pit, he'll certainly see it in his mirrors. And once Martin gets close enough to him, that'll put the fire into Maurizio to make the move on Cor Euser. But Mondello been a very difficult track to overtake. We could be in for some sparks yet.
And there is Gugelmin. Gugelmin really trying to find a gap past the similar car of Cor Euser. And there just doesn't seem to be a space. There's Donnelly coming up into Dunlop now. We're keeping the stopwatch on the gap. He's certainly pulling away from Russell Spence without any difficulty. The lap record, remember, is 57.60. Surely we must be under that by now.
Already several of the cars in practice have been well under the lap record. We've had as much as 8 cars under the lap record in this race. 10 in fact in total. The last 2 have equalled the lap record. So we've got a first-class field, a world-class field here. And it'll be terrific for Martin Donnelly to show well in this. As he won the race in Phoenix Park 2 weeks ago, it's given him an opportunity to race in an international Formula 3 race in England. And this will really consolidate him as a man to watch for the future.
But he's still got a lot of work to do. We mustn't get too excited too early on. The leaders are on the 9th lap of the 20-lap Benson & Hedges Euro Series race. And Martin Donnelly still is about 4 seconds behind. So he didn't, in fact, close the time gap on that particular lap. There he is. You can see him just coming through Bardol as the others were sort of entering forward. And he really has to try extremely hard now to close that gap. It's not going to be easy with drivers of this caliber. We've got a lap in at 57.24 for Cor Euser.
So Cor Euser just got a lap record, a new lap record from Mondello Park before 2000. And I think Maurizio was having a close look at him down the pit straight. I think he now will have in his mirrors large and clear Martin Donnelly. He will have to start pushing Cor Euser if he doesn't want to come under attack for Martin Donnelly.
This is the corner that has given them all the trouble, all the visitors, and indeed it gives everybody trouble, the famous Ducham's corner. And once again, Euser gets it a little bit too wide there, and Gugelmin gets a chance to just get the nose fins of the car very close to the gearbox of the Dutchman's car. There is Donnelly. You can see that it's closer.
Yes, Mauricio Gugelmin seems to be that bit quicker under braking. Now, as they pull out of this corner, down the pit straight and into Shell corner, but he's still just a little bit too far to really launch attack.
And Donnelly's just broken the lap record. Donnelly's done a 57.22. So Donnelly holds the new lap record. It's gone twice now in this race.
0.02 of a second. On lap 3, Martin Donnelly's got the lap 5, sorry, Martin Donnelly got a new lap record, 57.22.
And the gap now is down to 3.2 seconds. 3.2 seconds between first and third. And there you can see it.
And here's our new lap record holder just out of our picture now. Out of Ducham's and down to the Esso and Bardol complex. Cor Euser, car number 77. The red, white and the blue car. Second place, Mauricio Gugelmin, our Brazilian, in the orange and the white car.
And in third place, of course, is Martin Donnelly, followed by number 23, Russell Spence. Number
quick. And I try to win this race because it's very important for the championship. If Russell wins, then it's finished for him. He's leading with 40 points, so I have to go and win.
And you were right over the bank. We thought you had the car badly damaged.
No, that was not. It was only a rocker and a nose and my head of my hand a little, but I was lucky, I think.
Is the hand going to affect you in the race?
No, I think not. I think not.
And that was Cor Euser, an interview with Alan Tyndall with Cor Euser, the man leading the race, the man from Holland in that red, white and blue Van Diemen, followed by another Van Diemen, followed again by another Van Diemen. It's certainly a Van Diemen's day out here today.
And the lap record has gone yet again. Donnelly has done a 56.80, so the third time the lap record has been broken in this race. The gap is still about 3.2 seconds. There is the new lap record holder for Mondello, number 3, Martin Donnelly, 19 years old, from Belfast.
If Martin is breaking the lap records, the others have got to be lapping just about inside it, because he's only pulling a tenth or so each lap. But at a standard of this high, that when a standard is this high in European racing, the most that you can expect to make on another competitor is maybe just 2 tenths, 3 tenths a lap. But he's certainly driving like a man possessed.
And it's down to 3 seconds now. He's narrowed it, taken another 0.2 seconds off the gap. So Martin Donnelly down to 3 seconds. Just to remind you of the other front runners, Maurice Dunn doing well in 6th place in this Euro Series race. And Donnelly getting it very sideways that time. He now can see how close the leaders are to him. And it must be an enormous incentive for this young man.
Oh, tremendous. When you can get the smell of the cars ahead of you, he slides the car opposite lock, drifted it, absolutely beautiful. Tremendous car control, using every square inch of the tarmac at him. I wouldn't like to be on Mauricio Gugelmin's shoes.
These guys are full-time racing drivers, and it's good to get this opportunity to come up against the best in Europe and England, and I'm looking forward to taking them on this afternoon.
Will this be the most important race you've done so far in your career?
The most important race in Ireland up to date, yes.
And of course, it's only the start of a very heavy schedule, because you're going on to Formula 3 and indeed to Brands Hatch for another Euro Series round before the end of the season.
Yes, we're going to do the supporting race at Brands Hatch, and I won a Formula 3 drive at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time. So I'm looking forward to the experience in that, hope for further things to come.
And as he talked, the gap even closed visibly on our screens. That was Martin Donnelly talking about his prospects before the race. We can now see them live here at Mondello very vividly as the leader, Cor Euser, comes up into Dunlap, followed by Mauricio Gugelmin, and then Martin Donnelly, just about 0.29 seconds, we reckon, behind him. We'll confirm that in the stopwatch.
Mauricio Gugelmin, with 6 laps to go, really has got to start playing his cards now if he wants to get first place. Maybe Cor Euser just has that slight advantage that he can't get close to him, which is unfortunate for Martin Donnelly, because what this race needs is Cor Euser to make a mistake, Mauricio Gugelmin to climb all over him, and to give Martin Donnelly the opportunity he deserves to be in this dice for first place.
So it's less than 2 seconds now between Martin Donnelly and Cor Euser. The brilliant young Dutchman, he's had a fabulous career so far. In 1980, he won the Netherlands Championship for 1600cc Formula Ford. In 81, he was the Euro Series 1600 champion. In 82, he was the Netherlands German Euro Series champion. And of course, he's lying third in the Euro Series at the moment and can close to second place with a good result here. But obviously, the great excitement is the progress of Martin Donnelly, their number 3, lying in third place, having been involved in a starting grid shunt, but fortunately not deranging its suspension. And there, with the Bizarro sticker on the back of the car, Donnelly absolutely flying. They have completed 15 laps of this 20-lap race, so it's only 4.5 laps to go, and Donnelly really has a lot to do if he's going to actually get with them and get past them. It's something to get with them, but to get past them is a big task.
As you can see here, Mauricio Gugelmin has followed Cor Euser the whole race and hasn't had one opportunity to overtake. And it may be the same position for Martin Donnelly. If he can pull up onto the tail of these other drivers, it's very, very difficult to be able to pull through.
And we have another lap record, mind you, not confirmed, but it looks likely. Another lap record for Martin Donnelly, 56.74. He's in his process of narrowing the gap. He's really scything through the existing lap records. 4 laps to go.
We're running out of time. 4 laps will go very, very quickly. That's still quite a margin for Martin to make up. Mauricio seems to have made a mistake, and he has. He's dropped back a bit, so maybe at least second place maybe on the cards for Martin. I saw his car, the nose of the car, just shake a bit as if he just made a little correction too much. And through Duckham's corner, second place, third place Martin Donnelly. Equally spaced, and kicks up the dust Martin Donnelly, using all the road and more.
And Gugelmin, although he made that mistake within half a lap, he's almost corrected it again. And these three certainly are absolutely on the ragged edge. These three Van Diemens absolutely trying their hearts out.
Well, they're very determined, very aggressive young men. They have their careers ahead of them. They see Formula 3 as the next step, then Formula 2, then Grand Prix Formula 1 motor racing. And to do that, they've got to win the races. They've got to win this race. They've got to win every race. Mauricio Gugelmin will not settle for settled place, and Martin Donnelly, if he can't help it, won't settle for third place. The only place that counts is first place.
1.5 seconds between Donnelly and the leader. Gugelmin then, second in the British Formula 4 2000 Championship at the moment. He had 11 years of karting experience, and yet he's only 20 years old. He started kart racing, would you believe, when he was 6 years old.
Now we run into a very interesting situation, into the back markers, and let's hope they'll stay well out of the way and let it be a clean race. For anyone to win the race, they wouldn't, I'm sure, like to take advantage of the back markers.
Well, nobody seemed to lose time there as they went past. It looks like PJ Fallon without a nose cone. But and Donnelly definitely closed. Donnelly definitely closed in that situation. They're coming down to complete their 18th lap. 2 laps to go, and this race is wide open for the Benson and Hedges Euro Series final.
Oh, if Martin was just a few more cars lengths closer, he's got it all ahead of him. He's driving absolutely perfectly, sliding the car, four-wheel drift, clipping the curbs, not made one mistake throughout the whole race. He certainly deserves the finish in among these two.
And also was right up over the curb that time. And look at Gugelmin, he's going to have a go. Gugelmin on the inside, the Duckums on the second last lap. Donnelly closing as these two scrap. It's going to be an absolutely amazing finish. Down they come, down to Esso this time. And surely Gugelmin has to have a go.
Yeah, Gugelmin was pushing closer and closer to Cor Euser. This is what we need. This is what Martin needs. He needs these two to push each other, to slow each other up, to give him the opportunity to go by. It looks like we've got one car here with 16 wheels, well, 12 wheels.
And there's no back markers in the way as they come down the hill to go on to their last lap. 19 laps completed, 1 lap to go. Donnelly in third place. Euser leads from Gugelmin. 3 Van Diemens, all perfectly matched. And our young local driver matching the skills of the best in the world.
He's certainly shown he's got the skills to match the best in the world. He's proven he's quicker than the best in the world. He's pulled up from an incredible deficit of 7th place up to 3rd place, and he's pulled back 8 seconds. Now 1 car length between each of them. It's a pity this race isn't another 20 laps longer.
Donnelly got it very sideways that time as he came out of Duckham's, but he held on to it. Is Gugelmin going to have a go? He's got to have a go now. As he comes up the hill into Dunlop for the last time, he looks a little bit far behind. I think it's going to remain the same as they come up over the hill.
It's Cor Euser's race, unless he makes a mistake or Gugelmin hits him, but he hasn't done so. He's been very close to it, and up to take the flag, Cor Euser, Van Diemen, car number 77, Mauricio Gugelmin second, and a fantastic race by Martin Donnelly in 3rd place.
Now we have a long gap before we get 4th place man in. That was PJ Fallon going past. He's already been lapped, and just coming down the hill now in 4th place is the championship leader, number 23, Russell Spence. And then nobody else either inside, really spread out behind the Van Diemens. Then it was Fulmer Taylor, and then just going through there, number 6, Morris Dunn. A very good result indeed for the Dublin driver in his Van Diemen RF81, the car that Tommy Byrne used to use, what was it, 3 years ago?
That was 81. That's it'll be 2 years now. That 2 years old, this car. They get some hammering. That was a terrific performance there.
So let's just recap it. Cor Euser, the Dutch driver in the Van Diemen RF83, takes the Benson and Hedges Euro Series final here at Mondello under the incredible pressure from Mauricio Gugelmin, with Martin Donnelly undoubtedly being one of the stars of the day, working his way back up the field from a lowly position after a first lap incident and scything lap records all the way.
A terrific race by Cor Euser as Alan Tyndall makes his way down to interview Cor Euser at the Benson and Hedges European 2000 Championship race 1. Let me recap the results again. First place, Cor Euser. Second place, we had a terrific drive by Mauricio Gugelmin, but he never got the opportunity to overtake Cor Euser. And Ireland's Martin Donnelly in third place, a sterling performance, tremendous. If it wasn't for that unfortunate incident at the start line when he tangled with the Reynard of Julian Bailey, I'm sure he would have been a second race winner over 2 days, having won the Irish Championship race yesterday. And I have with me Brian too. What did you think of that one, Brian?
Well, unfortunately, I was still drying out after my race. I didn't see Martin's incident. When I came in, he was a good 7 seconds behind, but this is definitely the sign of a future champion, David. Like 7 seconds, all right, he knows the track, but these guys are professional. He was caught up on the two of the most professional teams running in 2000 this year in the European circuit.
If he's impressed anyone, he's impressed all the manufacturers that have been here, the Reynards, Crosley, and the Cor Euser sprays the champagne with as he got the trophy there from Peter Neal, sales director of Benson and Hedges.
Well, Cor Euser, a fantastic race. No doubt you're a little bit thirsty at this stage.
Yes, of course. Always after the race. Eh?
Well, tell me this, you must have seen your mirrors absolutely full of Gugelmin the whole way. Was there any time you worried when the car would lose control?
Yes, that's the problem. When you're driving on first place, the second one has only to look to the mistake from the other one. And I keep that cap true, so it's...
Well, this is the win you really wanted now, the Euro Series. Does this move you up a place?
Definitely for second place. I was at the same place with Mike Taylor on the second place with the same points, and now I'm my second place yet.
Fantastic stuff. Now you had, of course, a fairly major accident in practice here.
Yeah.
You went right over the bank at one stage, and yet surprisingly did very little damage to the car.
Yes, and also my hand, and it's toch quite strong, hard to drive with.
It's given you trouble, has it?
Yeah, with gear and all of that.
Well, it's got a little time to recover now. Congratulations again, Cor Euser, a superb drive.
Thank you.
What a terrific race. Last year we saw Ayrton de Silva win in similar style, drove very smoothly, very cleanly, very professionally. There he is, the man from Holland, holding up the Benson and Hedges trophy, presented by the sales director Peter Nicol. And if he is going to have the same career that Ayrton de Silva has had since last year, who's gone into Formula 3, having all the Formula 1 teams chase him, Cor Euser will be wearing his shoes. And not only wearing his shoes, but also trying to wear his shoes too will be Martin Donnelly, who set a new lap record, not confirmed as yet, of 56.74, which beats the Formula 4